I have this door. It's locked, a little bit mysterious, and it's in my basement. I have no idea what's on the other side, and I don't have the key. And no matter how many times I have tried to open it, I can't. And no matter how many sledgehammers I've taken to it, I can't get it to budge. And no matter how many times I've tried to kick it in, I can't open that door. This is what it's like to have conversion disorder. Anybody ever heard of conversion disorder? Very few, almost none. Have you ever heard of hysteria? Yes. That's because hysteria is the old name for conversion disorder. And now it's also known as functional neurological disorder. This baffling and fairly unknown disorder has actually been around for thousands of years. Hysteria is first referenced in the oldest medical document known to man from ancient Egypt, dating 2000 BC. It was thought that it was only a young woman's disorder where her womb would detach and float around her body, causing all these inexplicable symptoms. I know it's funny, but they thought that for a really long time. And it wasn't for 3,600 years later, in the 17th century, that Dr. Thomas Sydenham came up with this radical new idea. It's not the womb, it's the brain. And it was another 200 years in the 19th century when the father of neurology, Jean-Martin Charcot, was very, very famous for his work with hysteria in women. And it still was believed that men couldn't suffer from this disorder or didn't. Not so, said Charcot. But the minute he died, all of his buddies threw out all of his theories, and they said, these symptoms are too weird, and we can't find anything wrong with the patient, so therefore, they're making it all up. Fun fact, Sigmund Freud was a student of Charcot's, and he said, no, I don't think they're making it up. I think this has something to do with repression of a traumatic experience. And in the meantime, World War I was raging, and this really shook things up. In 1914, hysteria struck hundreds and thousands of men. Charcot was right. Guys could suffer from this disorder, not just people with roaming wombs. They called it shell shock. Freud said, this is definitely a subconscious reaction to trauma, and in this case, very obviously, the trauma of warfare. But the doctors argued with him, and they said, no, these soldiers are faking it because they don't want to go back to the blood and guts of the trenches. So this controversy battled on along with World War I. And the debate ensued for several more decades until psychiatry declared, we can't actually prove that a patient has a repressed memory. So their solution was to remove all of Freudian criteria from, in regards to conversion disorder as being a post-traumatic condition from the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. When I read that, it blew my mind. Because as a person who suffers from this disorder, with its random, bizarre symptoms that doctors can't explain, and its history of you're making it all up, and the implication that we can't handle stress in our life. Quite frankly, I was very ashamed. To tell anybody that I had this disorder. This is what happens to me. First, I feel like I've been slapped really hard on the left side of my face. I have that burning, tingling sensation. Then my eyes start to blink wildly until they finally just clamp shut. I get muscle spasms that start right here in the corner of my mouth, and the spasms pull this way and that way until I feel like my face is going to be ripped apart. My hands draw into little claws and my arms tight next to my torso. But wait, there's more. I'm paralyzed from my waist down. I'm fully aware. I look like I'm having a seizure, and I can hear the panic in the voices of the people around me. Is she breathing? Check her pulse. Call an ambulance. No, don't rush me to the hospital again. Just take me home and put me in my bed. But I can't say that. I'm locked in. I can't speak. I can't move. All I can do is lay there, terrifying the people around me. Trips to the hospital resulted in being pumped full of muscle relaxers to stop the spasms, and hundreds of tests, all coming back normal. Normal? I have no control over this. How can it be normal? Fast forward a couple of years. My last trip to the emergency room with this issue, the neurologist came in and said, Vivian, I think it's conversion. What? What is that? He explained, it is emotional and mental stress that is converted into physical symptoms. So there is not, or is there something wrong with me? Oh my God, I'm crazy. This disorder became one of the biggest, darkest secrets of my life. It shaped my life. From that point forward, my decisions were made on this Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, this horrible monster that could spontaneously transform before people's eyes. And that fear paralyzed me in a whole new way. Thankfully, there's this professor. His name is Richard Cannon, and he is the chair of psychiatry at Austin Health in Melbourne, Australia. He specializes in unexplained syndromes like conversion disorder. He said, I think there is something to what Freud has said, and he set out to prove it. Because in his experience with working with people with conversion disorder, they have trauma in their lives, and that trauma has a lot to do with their symptoms. While I was doing my research, I am thrilled to say that in the previous recent years, using brain imaging technology, he has actually proven that the brain can and does short circuit, causing physical symptoms in response to emotional stress. And interestingly, the worst of my episodes took place in my early 30s when my sweet, little daughter, Stephanie, turned age 4. That revealed that I had repressed memories of being sexually abused by my nanny and her boyfriend from age 4 to 7. I was triggered. My door was unveiled. My body was responding to very old trauma, and I wasn't making it up. I became obsessed with what was behind the door. Thousands of hours of therapy and hypnosis and EMDR and body work. I brought in one locksmith after another to forge for me a key to unlock the secrets behind the door. I grew up in an era of secret keepers. There were unwelcome consequences for telling the truth. It was an era of, don't you dare tell anybody what goes on in this house. It's nobody's business. How could you think of anything so disgusting? You are making it all up. It was not a hero move to tell the truth back then. Quite the opposite. We were punished and blamed for being troublemakers. We were called liars and pretenders. There wasn't even a chance of being believed, much less acknowledged. It was self-preservation to keep our secrets. Have you ever kept a secret out of fear of being judged? We all want to feel safe, so we hide our real selves and our pain away from the world. Did you know that even thinking about a secret releases cortisol, our fight or flight response hormone, and that has profound emotional, physical, psychological, and spiritual repercussions. Suffer from migraines, chronic pain, stomach aches you can't explain, substance use, eating disorders. All of those things and more can be the result of not dealing with trauma. Being a secret keeper can make you sick. For me, it led to having functional neurological disorder, also known as conversion disorder, also known as shell shock, also known as hysteria. How many people suffer from this disorder? Some reports say it's common. Most reports say it's rare. But how could we possibly have real numbers on such a confusing condition? It was my secret for 45 years. How many others like me are out there? Can we just acknowledge that there are other conditions that are less extreme versions, but still have everything to do with our emotional and physical connection? We aren't making it up. I want to see so much more research done so that we can put this debate to rest once and for all. I've come to accept that this door exists. I don't have to keep trying to force it open to see the gory details. That doesn't serve me anymore. I believe in a new era where we are not shamed, but we are encouraged to say how we really feel, do what we really want, and be who we really are. There is no better time in history to step up and be a truth teller, accepting that our trauma is part of our story, understanding that our experiences affect us both mentally and physically, acknowledging that no matter what we have been through, it has made us the complete, beautiful, complex human that we are today, and the willingness to no longer be a secret keeper. That's what opens the door. Thank you.